Thank you everyone for joining us. My name is Jaena Rae Cabrera. I am an editor with WOC+Lib, and today I have LaQuanda and Lorin, and I'm going to let them introduce themselves. So whichever one of you would like to go first.
Okay. I'm Lorin Jackson. I use she, them pronouns. For WOC+Lib, I'm one of the co-founders and also have been working as editor-in-chief.
Hello, everyone. My name is LaQuanda. I'm a co-founder at WOC+Lib, and I guess my title is Directing of Marketing and Recruitment and Outreach.
Cool. So I just wanted to give everyone an overview of WOC+Lib. So tell us how you two met and where the idea for WOC+Lib came from.
Yeah, so LaQuanda and I started off as residents in libraries, and we met through a residency institute at UNC, right? It was North Carolina, yeah. And that was a few years ago. And while we were there, we connected with other librarians and other, Black women librarians, BIPOC librarians. And in just talking and working together, we, kind of confronted that there wasn't really like a blog space or website that really showcased, the experiences that we were going through and that we had connected with at that conference. And we were like, if we think that there's a need for this, other people probably need it too. And so, we really wanted to establish like a for us by us sort of like space online that could connect to other people who are in other places, and not just where we were. And it came a lot out of like being residents. It came a lot out of being Black librarians. And just confronting like the lack of diversity in the profession, like generally. And then I think that like LaQuanda and I had specific experiences too, like where librarianship was not our first career. Like we came into it after exploring other things and trying other things. And so we had that experience in addition to being, residents, and feeling like those were unique experiences. There were things that were very important to me from identifying as a librarian who's like disabled and queer that were important that I wanted us to have more exposure to or like writing about or authors who represented that perspective in the profession. And also having like library workers who were not like professionals. That was really important to us too, because we realized that a lot of folks who work in libraries don't get like the airtime that they deserve to talk about what their experiences are, even though they might not have the MLIS behind their name. So for all of those reasons, that was a lot of how we started the blog. LaQuanda, do you want to add anything?
Yes, and then I was in a rotation with Scholarly Communications, and was working with Sarah Potvin, and she's actually one of the editors and founders of BH+Lib. And there I started to kind of research and learn about scholarly communications and the impact of scholarly communications. And it gave me the freedom to kind of dive deeper and saw the power of digital publishing, just like the blueprint of just being able to write your stories. And I wanted to do that for BIPOC community at all levels. So I felt like having a platform where everyone had the power to write their stories and capture that, and basically creating opportunities in writing. So I felt like that can, I don't know, I guess felt like create opportunities for us in the community, and also giving us more of a leverage if we were telling our own stories, our own perspectives, our own research, and not being censored, especially through like I guess like the whiteness in librarianship. It would create more opportunities to tell that authentic story that we were seeing.
Oh, yeah, that's great. What did it take to get WOC+Lib off the ground? I know that there's there's the idea of it and then the execution.
Commitment, passion, dedication, um, Yeah, not giving up, and also just jumping in and not being okay with imperfection, just wanting wanting it to happen and wanting to serve people. So just kind of going in there and getting wet, nitty gritty. That would be my my interpretation of it. But we can get into the details. But that would be my interpretation.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with what LaQuanda said. I definitely think it takes a lot of time. Just thinking about like where we want to go, how we're going to do it, like how things were going to happen. LaQuanda and I spent a substantial amount of time thinking about systems and workflows, particularly because it's volunteer run. So with that, we had to really leverage like people's time and commitment, like LaQuanda said, to the project, and find ways to communicate, with people that made sense. And and just like leveraging that from being in different places, like around, the country, and still somehow staying in touch with each other to make this project happen. Um, I think that kind of along with that, networking has been huge. LaQuanda does that really well. A lot of other members of the team do too, in terms of, recruiting like people to write for the blog, and calls for content and features. That's essential. Like we're nothing without our posts. Yeah, because that's like the whole idea of the blog. So making sure that people are contributing and know how to do that has been pretty essential. I also think that it required, everyone, LaQuanda and I included, but really everyone, to step up into leadership in different ways. And sometimes that means, doing stuff when like no one else has the availability to do it. Sometimes it means, being willing, like LaQuanda said, to admit like what you did wrong and what was imperfect and what could be improved next time. And being honest about your mistakes, which is very much a part of what we do, because when it comes to like the editing and writing, and the way that people do things, this is included in our beginner writers webinar that we came up with to encourage new writers, like LaQuanda was saying, in terms of scholarly communications, to have a way in, like an entryway to publishing and academic publishing, or like writing in their own voice and feeling like they could see like things from their perspective and express themselves in that way. you know, Kind of similar to that sort of process of it being like, just a process of writing and needing to make it better the next time. That's very much, I think, part of the leadership structure of WOC+Lib as well. It's like, what can we do better next time? Like, how can we improve? So that same sort of value that's found like through the writing process with the folks that work with us is the same thing that we try to exhibit with the way that we run the site, in terms of continual improvement.
What are some struggles and some triumphs that you remember from the last 2 years?
Creating workflows, because we never did this before. We had an idea, and we said we're running out with this, and we're going to do this because this is important. We are not censoring our voices. We want to create a platform for all voices, and writing is important to me because I want to create opportunities for everyone, not just the superstar librarian, but what about an up and coming person that has something to say? I want to create a platform and support for a new writer to be able to still showcase their voice. So how do we do that? How do we create a system for editors? How do we create a system to market? How do we create a system when we have people, editors that are like California, East Coast, and then how do we create an efficient system? Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I think that was one of the struggles. And then also sometimes when life is happening, but you are still committed to the goal, to try to juggle that sometimes as well. So I think that those are some of the hurdles. The bandwidth, so
Mm-hmm.
still trying to be a resident and trying to look for a job, career planning, and don't want to feel like you're letting this big idea and concept down because you still have these voices. I just see them as all these different voices, this platform, but you still have to continue with your own individual life and goal too, to as a resident, because the resident is if you're not familiar, it is temporary, so you still have to do things and accomplish different tasks and perform different things as well. And the goal is to get a job, so you still have to do that as well. So you have to kind of balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think that that's the most challenging piece is the fact that it's like voluntary and it runs parallel to your job or other responsibilities in your life. Like I think to hit that on the head. That's definitely the biggest issue because like like she said, like when you're a resident or like with another job or just other responsibilities, like this was a full-time job too, but we weren't getting compensated for it in the same way. Like there were lots of rewards from it, and that's definitely I think one of the triumphs. To answer your question, Jaena, like the fact that like we were able to do it and
Yeah.
like that it got recognition by like the American Library Association, by the Library of Congress, by like our friends that we admire, like through We Hear and like Uproot and like other publications that are doing very similar things. That was awesome. Like, and those were like big wins for us. We talked about it at conferences, whether they were online and webinar sorts of formats and conferences that were held that way or in person, like pre-COVID. We did a lot of that, and we were able to like connect with a lot of people and gain a pretty substantial like Twitter following, for from where we started, right? With like just with us to people really trying to focus on what we had to say and listening to us, which was that was amazing. But I think that the hurdles really come from balancing it and trying to maintain the infrastructure, which has been supported through fundraising efforts and folks doing like donating time. Like it wasn't all financial, right? Like donating time, donating effort to making this happen. That was huge, and that helped us a lot. Um, but I think really keeping that in balance was tough. I think volunteer efforts are tough, and they need money. So at the beginning, it was just LaQuanda and I paying for it out of pocket, and we're like, we're dedicated enough to this that we think it's important, where we're gonna donate like basically full-time hours to this project for years and years, and then also donate money directly out of our pockets to it to pay for the site licensing and whatever else we really needed we came up with ourselves. So I think that could create challenges, like, and then feel like more work at certain times. um and that was hard. Like, was it worth it? Absolutely. But was it hard? Yeah, it was hard too.
I also want to add that I think because the transparency of what's going on behind the scenes, no one really knows what it takes to keep a platform or organization up. You see that, like, the articles are up, but no one really knows the behind the scenes, like what does it take, And I think that's another hurdle as well. It looks effortless, but what goes into that?
Yeah, there's a K-Tronada song that I really like that's called "Look Easy," and like the chorus is like, "We make it look easy," and it's like, yeah, we really do, but it's not. It's like it's actually a lot harder than what it looks like, and people are working really hard to make it happen.
I think as BIPOC people, I don't know if that's just like, if we do that, and sometimes it looks so effortlessly, but it's a lot of work, It's and no one really knows the different details behind it all.
Mm-hmm.
But it was always worth it.
Yeah. So my next question may be a surprise to a lot of folks. There are some changes coming to WOC+Lib, right? Would you like to talk about some of those and how it feels to be stepping away from a more central role in the organization?
Yeah, surprise. Yeah. So for the last couple of years, it's been LaQuanda and I, like, as the co-pilots for this project. And we're handing over the keys to Jaena and Juanita to step in, really beginning in April 2021, right? So we've been doing it for, I mean, I guess officially it's been 2 years, but really I think that some of the prep started before that, honestly. Like, it really feels like it's been a 3 year sort of commitment at this point from when we initially met to like where we are now. And yeah, and so I think that we gave it a lot of thought after sort of like some of the strategic planning and ideas that we had from the first year, that we were like, we want other people to have the opportunity to lead. We have learned a lot from what we've done from our positions as like um LaQuanda was saying, as director of marketing, recruitment, and outreach, and like for me as editor in chief. We've learned a lot of things, but we also think like it's time for other people to have the chance to like step into that role. And we wanted to share that responsibility with other totally capable individuals like Jaena and Juanita to take that on. And I think we're really proud of what we've built, but we're also really excited for folks to bring in new ideas and like innovations and to strengthen the workflows, like LaQuanda mentioned, to like make things even stronger and to build on what we started. But I think we are really proud of the foundation though that we built.
It makes me want to cry and get emotional, like, because like this all just kind of started from a conversation, and we're just like, yo, let's do it. And then me and Lorin was meeting on Saturday, like, we're like, okay, well, we're gonna put our money up. You got Square Cash, all right, Square Cash, and we're gonna find a graphic designer. And now we're sitting here 2 years later. Sorry, I'm getting emotional. And now we just passed on today.
Oh, it's true. Yo, that's true though. Like it really did start here.
Like, yeah. So anybody that has a dream or a commitment, just do it, and then you're gonna find people that are gonna believe in your mission. Because Jaena came like a month or two, and she's still with us. So you're gonna find people that support you and want to go all the way with you. So yeah, sorry. Yeah, definitely.
It's true. Where there's a will, there's a way, and we definitely had our share of haters. Listen, there were people who were like, this is like, that's cute. You know what I'm saying? Y'all can try it. But we also had a lot of support though. Like LaQuanda said, like with folks like Jaena stepping in, Juanita was there from the jump, Malika, right? Like we had people who were there and who were like, look, we know that you're just getting started. We know that you're trying to figure out these workflows, that you're trying to find ways to pay for this, that you're redesigning the site, like whatever it was, but they were with us. And that continues to today, and we're so proud of it because we really worked super hard to make this happen and to try to share with other people like us that like they weren't alone, right? And that what they were experiencing in terms of working in libraries and related fields wasn't just with them, like it was with us too. And that we also like struggled and had wins and failures all the time, like with where we were working, whether that was, in our professional life or if we brought it home and we're dealing with it in personal times, which you can see in some of the blog posts, right? Like sometimes it's personal, right? About what people are experiencing. So that's been huge. I think it's really important to know that you're not alone, that other folks relate to you. And then maybe one of the things that's been like most important though, like in addition to that, is that it really spoke truth to power. So, there were people, especially folks who might identify as like allies, or were working in these like PWI, places and didn't have a lot of people of color there, like within glam fields, right? And so for them to be able to see like, oh, this is what this is like for like this type of person that's here, that was significant for them to finally have a platform to say, like maybe we need to talk about this, like in the staff meeting. Like I want to talk about what that was like for me. Like no one has talked about what it's been like to be a Black person working in this library after what happened to Breonna Taylor. Like maybe we need to have a way to talk about that. I want you to read this piece by Kenita Stringer Standback about what it's like to be Black and queer in the library. That's like my experience. Okay, so like before we start coming up with things, or how you talk about this person's not a good cultural fit, let's talk about what that means and unpack that a little bit and how that's like part of white supremacist culture. Like we gave people language to be able to begin speaking about these things in a way that wasn't really there before. I mean, definitely places like I said, like We Hear and Uproot contribute to these same things, Also in the library, Lead Pipe, which I know you're very familiar with, Jaena, because you're an editor for that. Those were all places that inspired us and that are definitely part of the same mission. Like, we're not in competition, we collaborate with each other, and I feel like that's it was necessary. Like, there wasn't a platform for that before.
And then it doesn't put the onus on the people that's already there, you know. So it's like this is another I guess supplements that they can use, so it doesn't like, hey, Black person and the staff, tell me about your experience. Like, no, here is something that you can read, you know, and you can do your own work. So.
Okay, and my last question for today is, what are your hopes for the future of WC+Lib?
I would like to have well, one of my ideas and concepts. It would be great to have like a scholarship for women or people that identify as women, or just BIPOC in general, for leadership opportunities, like for mentoring or just getting people geared towards leadership. So I think that would be just great. Like, I don't know, just to give people with more tools and training for leadership. And I also think it would be great for WC+Lib to just kind of have continue to be a space, or to recruit more people as a space for creativity and just a pilot project. So like, if you feel like you want to be able to do different things you may not be able to do at your library, maybe you want to start a book club and you may feel like, I can't do that, WC+Lib can probably be the place for you, and you can initiate that initiative here, you know, so just kind of have that be an outlet for something that you're passionate about that you can contribute back to the profession for BIPOC people. That would be something else. It's a merchandise. I want to WC+Lib.
That's great. Yeah, now I'm getting emotional.
Oh, see, you see, it hits you, right?
You know, work out a lot of work. Okay. Okay. Here we go. So I really want, oh God, all of you to be recognized for the amazing work that you do. So,
yeah.
you know, I don't think that you get lifted up enough. And I think that you contribute a lot, and that you deserve to be seen,
Yeah.
and, you know, held in the light, and like seen for the amazing things that like you contribute, because I don't think that there's enough of that. Yeah. So I'm hoping that that's the direction that the site moves in. And kind of separate from that, you know, something that LaQuanda and I have talked about a lot is that we hope that folks can get some financial remuneration for the contributions that they make. That's something I've thought about a lot in terms of that self-care, you know, and how we take care of ourselves to contribute something like this to the masses, right? Like through the blog, through the platform. And so I think it would just be great for people to have just even a stipend. Like, I understand if it can't be like full-time pay, right? Although I feel like that would be amazing, because that's like what the site does ask of you, I think sometimes, like in terms of the commitment, going back right to where we started with what LaQuanda said about like what the site requires. But I just think that like some kind of gift and token to thank the folks for what they've given, I think would be fantastic. And
we appreciate you all. We appreciate our editors. We want to just, can we take a time to name everybody on our team? We're going to be doing a spotlight for our team members. It's going to be launching. I don't know when this interview is going to be shown, but this we have Jaena and Juanita. They're going to be the new leadership. And then we have Malika. All right, we have Jaena. We have Ava. All right, we have Stephanie. We have Jessica, and then we have Gina. And then I like to name Ray Pond our like honorary WC+ member. So I tell him this, but he's been doing interviews. He lifts us up. He's been supporting us. So that is our WC+Lib team. All right. And then like our readers is our team. You guys support us. You signal boost. And we would not be here without you guys. And then our writers, thank you for just being brave enough to just share your stories, your personal experience, your research, and just to just come to us, just be a part of what we have in our platform. So we appreciate that.
Absolutely. That was great, LaQuanda. And LaQuanda mentioned earlier too, from the early days, our graphic designer.
Oh yeah, Jamil. Yes.
Jamil came through. He's the designer of our logo and like helped us with the initial, you know, construction of the site. and was really inspirational and creative and lovely. And like we shouted him out earlier, but we should say his name too, right? Like Jamil helped us a lot. Thank you, Jamil.
It's been a team. So if you get anything from this effort, like WC+Lib is a community, it's a team. You are a part of WC+Lib if you're listening, and you have just listened to 1 minute, 2 minutes, like you help us grow and share our word, our voice.
Yeah, and we have some like exciting like upcoming collaborations. Like as a team, we're meeting with Uproot to work with them and see like what kinds of things could come from that sort of collaboration. We're already like pretty close to folks in We Hear, and we connect a lot of our features to their Facebook space, that we share with other people. I think we've attended like some of their webinars, like different members of our team. They have a really beautiful community school that we've benefited from and learned from. So we're really trying to share that knowledge with each other, and I think build from there as well, which I think is wonderful, because a lot of academic librarian kind of stuff, or just libraries in general, are very siloed. We have a very individualistic culture, and it tends to be very introverted, like like how folks do things in the field. And so to be able to connect and network with each other and share is really exciting, and I think that's the direction we're moving into for WOC+Lib.
And we are missing voices. We're missing public librarian voices. We're missing school librarian voices. Like one of the other hurdles is like trying to be inclusive and highlight target audiences at the same time. But we do need help, and we all are learning. And that is something that we're still in the process. So we need your help, and by getting help is writing for us, and helping us shed light to all these varieties of voices and outlets, stories, and different research and different things that's happening in the community that we're not all privy to be able to really show a real picture, So.
Okay, well, I think we're coming up on time here, so thank you both for sharing so much, and thank you for your time, and thank you for everything, for putting together WC+Lib and creating this community for us. It's been a wonderful 2 years for me too, and I've really enjoyed meeting and working with all of you. It's been a wonderful ride, so I can't wait to see where things go. And I'm sure, I mean, we're still a family, so I'm not too worried about not talking. Yeah.
That's right.
So, all right. Thank you both.
Thank you so much, Jaena. Thank you for interviewing us today.
Yeah, this is really great. We both cried, so we're like crybabies.
Yeah, we did. We've come a long way.